Welcome back. Well, let's get a bit more about what's happening with that big substation explosion in eThekwini. So most of the city, as you heard Karinda explain, is back online again. Most of it has electricity after that blast at the Klavata substation. But it comes as people in the eThekwini Council are still debating around whether the city should take out a R1.5 billion loan to pay for the rebuilding of the infrastructure that was damaged during the massive flooding in Durban over the Easter weekend. You remember how many people died. Councillor Mdu Nkosi is a councillor for the Inkatha Freedom Party. As I understand it, they believe the city should take the loan. Councillor Nkosi, good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you very much indeed for your time. Firstly, when you see that so much of the city was out of electricity last night because of one explosion, what do you believe that says about the infrastructure, the electricity infrastructure in the city of eThekwini?
Yes, good day, Stephen, and everyone in the studio. Yes, of course, after the floods, we are experiencing a lot of problems as a city. And yesterday explosion, to me, it became clear that it's one of the problems that emanated from the floods. I think that is why we all agree that that 1.5 billion loan borrowing must be accepted. And as IFP, we normally don't support the loan borrowing because at the end of the day, it became a burden to the taxpayers and to the ratepayers of eThekwini. So by this time, I think we are all forced to say, let's take this loan, not unless it will be utilized properly, go to infrastructure as it is required, because when it comes to electricity and also water, that's where, and also road as well, that's where the city was badly affected, and also housing. But the urgent one is water, because people don't have water as well as electricity. In nowadays, you can't live without the two services of the municipality.
You say you don't normally support a loan. I don't think you normally support the ANC either, and it's their suggestion. Is there no other way to do this? R1.5 billion is quite a lot of money. The interest will make it worth a lot more money over time. Is it really the only way to rebuild this infrastructure?
Well, let me start by saying and emphasize that we normally don't support the loan borrowing, because we know that at the end of the day, it will be a problem to the taxpayers, and to repay the loan back would be a huge task to the taxpayers. But we wanted to ensure the voters of eThekwini that we are going to look closer to this loan borrowing to ensure that it goes straight to the infrastructure repairing, because normally we used to emphasize to the council that the main reason for IFP not to support this loan borrowing, they normally say it goes to infrastructure, but at the end of the day, you can't see the work of that loan borrowing, and they are forced by this time to ensure that we repair all the infrastructure. As we speak, Ward 99, they've been 2 weeks now, they don't have water. So you can see that most of the areas, they are still suffering after the flood. So it is a dire need for the loan to be utilized directly to infrastructure repairing.
Councillor Nkosi, you may remember when national government and the provincial government in KwaZulu-Natal, straight after the flooding, literally I think Easter Monday, said that they were going to ensure that there was money for the rebuild. Immediately the suspicion was, and we live in a cynical country, and I'm sure you understand that some of this money would be stolen. And it was a very cynical suggestion, but I think many people believe that the money would be stolen. Is there a risk that if the eThekwini Council now borrowed money for this, that some of that money might be lost to corruption? And I hate to say it, but we have seen it in the past.
Well, there is a huge risk. That's why when I was interviewed by one of the TVs, I said we preferred as IFP to donate to NGOs, because we know that they are going to ensure that work will be done to service the people. You know, what we are touching, we are talking about R1 billion that was promised to eThekwini. Well, it's unfortunately and it's embarrassing that it was announced by the president of the country, And he then somersaulted that it's not for the eThekwini, but it's for the province. Then somersaulted that it's not for the province, but for the whole of the country. Now, which shows that the leadership of the ANC cannot be trusted. That's why we have a task as opposition parties to ensure that this loan borrowing does go directly to this infrastructure, because people are suffering in eThekwini. They don't have water as we speak. After the explosion yesterday, which we are still saying to city manager, I wrote to him to say we're looking forward to get a proper report of what happened, because we cannot just take the report to say we suspect that strong wind and lightning was the cause. We want a full report, proper report that will give us a picture of what happened yesterday. But we wanted to say to the ANC, I think now it's a high time whereby they need to be trusted and utilize the taxpayers correctly, not to take this loan borrowing and not to do what it has been required for.
Councillor, are you about to get into a coalition with the ANC and eThekwini?
Come again?
Are you about to get into a coalition with the ANC and eThekwini?
Well, not at all. The leadership of the IFP have not even hinted at that one. Remember, how do we do things in IFP? We don't negotiate for ourselves, but there is a negotiating team, national team and provincial team that negotiate with other parties. But I don't know any negotiations between the IFP and the ANC as we speak. So there's nothing as such that I know.
Councillor, IFP Councillor Mdu and Nkosi from the city of eThekwini, thanks very much indeed. Well, I thought I'd